Sports card geeks and card fondlers, hope you guys are staying warm out there because, ladies and gentlemen, we are not in Arizona anymore. We are back in California, and I hear all this stuff about climate change and global warming. Well, send some of that California's way because I got a hoodie on. It's raining outside, and I think I just saw the sun today for the first time in 4 or 5 days, so I do have something to be grateful for there. Guys, we're back on the Sports Card Radio R-rated podcast. What the hell are we doing? I don't even remember the last time we had a podcast. Actually, the last time that I was recording a show, it was the Sports Card Radio Premium podcast with my brother. You're going to want to check that out. Go head on over to sportscardradio.com. If you're on your mobile device, there's a little thing you click up in the upper right-hand corner, I believe, and it's a tab that'll drop down, and the premium thing, click on that, and it'll take you right to that podcast and all the shows forthcoming there. If you're on desktop, then head on over to sportscardradio.com/premium. Check it out. I know my brother will, he's only going to do them when he really feels like there's value to be had, and that if somebody's going to pay $1.49, that they're going to get your money's worth. We got all these people out here trying to get likes and trying to grow their audience. Over here at Sports Card Radio, we're actually trying to shrink our audience, believe it or not. We actually believe that's a better idea than trying to grow things. And every other day we get threatened, lawsuits threatened by this Joe Blow and this fucking idiot, and so on and so forth. That has happened multiple times this year. 3 times, in fact, I believe Sports Card Radio has been threatened with lawsuits. And, God, it gets to the point where we'd rather people pay $1.49 to listen to the podcast if they're going to reference it in defamation lawsuits that they're supposedly going to file against us. But what do we got on this rare R-rated podcast today? What the hell am I going to talk about? Talk about a couple things. Brian Gray of Leaf Trading Cards, the CEO, had a complete meltdown on social media today. It made me relevant for about 5 minutes on one of the platforms, so I'm thankful for that as we're around this time of thankfulness and giving and so forth. So I'm super thankful that Brian Gray gifted me this relevancy that I had for about 5 minutes on social media today. We'll talk briefly about this. Prizm basketball came out. These are the only cards right now that I'm buying and selling is Prizm basketball, the last few years of Prizm basketball. So it's super exciting for finally the new set to come out. I'll talk about when I'll actually start trading the rookies from this year. But I've been all of the only cards that I've purchased over the last 6 months and maybe even over the last year has mostly been Prizm basketball cards. And the rare podcasts that there have been, I probably have talked about the players that I've purchased and my justification for that. And I go on, check out my cards every day, and really the only cards I look at are Prizm basketball cards from the last couple of years. The Luka year, the Lonzo Ball, Markelle Fultz, Jason Tatum year. So it's just exciting that the new set is here. I opened a little bit of retail and didn't do too well, but it didn't really matter to me. I just kind of wanted to check out the cards, check out how the cards fell in a retail situation, what they look like, become just kind of familiar with the cards and themselves, and just have a little fun and gamble a little bit. So it's rare that I'll open my wallet and buy a box of cards, but I'll happily do that with Prizm because even if I get smoked, which I didn't get really anything of value in the 6 retail blaster boxes that I purchased, but I'm going to make so much money trading those cards over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. And I'll talk about my strategy for that a little bit. It's really actually exciting for me that this set came out. So probably a big reason why we're doing this podcast, because it's something that's happening in cards that is really exciting. After that, I've got a few ideas that I'm kicking around for a show idea that I'll talk about. I'll briefly talk about it, a little off topic, but if you're listening to this and you're a sports card person and you have a Facebook page or something, it's getting your audience to do some work for you. And I'll talk about how this was done in sports cards, a specific example, and I'll talk about maybe a little bit about what I need my audience, not my sports card audience, my Beanie Babies audience to do for me what I'm thinking. And lastly, I purchased a Tesla recently. I purchased a Model 3, a 2019. And yeah, I got that. I've been driving around. I've probably put, I don't know, only about 1,000 miles on this one I bought. So super cool. I've done a lot of research on it in the last a couple months, and definitely worth every penny. And spoiler alert, it drives itself. And that's fucking awesome. I can't even begin to just, so I picked up I'll go into the story. 2 minutes here, and then I'll start talking about cards. I go pick up the Tesla, right? And you go pick it up, and it's in Fremont, which is near the Bay Area. And so I go pick it up, whatever. You fucking give them the money, and then the car's sitting out there, and you just pick it up and you kind of go. And so I had to watch a bunch of videos, and where you pick it up in Fremont's like 2 miles off the freeway. And anybody who's ever driven in fucking San Francisco, the traffic there is a nightmare. Besides LA, we're talking about nightmare scenario. I'd have people in Phoenix be like, oh, the traffic sucks here. I'm like, dude, the traffic here is light work compared to San Francisco. So shit's fucking, I hate driving to San Francisco. Pick up the new Tesla, get it 2 miles, drive it on the freeway, and this is where it's actually legal for the car to drive itself, is on the freeway. And so boom, I click the handle down twice, and literally the car in stop and go 30-mile-an-hour freeway traffic drives it fucking self. And you might think, oh, I'm a better driver, oh, that's scary, guys, I've probably put several hundred miles now driving on autopilot. You're not a better driver than a Tesla. Trust and believe that. And when you have that motherfucker on autopilot, you ain't worried about road rage. You ain't worried about what's in front of you. You ain't worried about what's behind you. You ain't worried about what's next to you. You worried about the lyrics on the song you're listening to. You're worried about the girl you need to text and hit up. And all the stress about driving goes away. I'm fucking telling you, it's fucking unbelievable. But we'll get to that later. And we'll start with a few card topics first. You know who could use some autopilot is maybe Leaf Trading Card CEO Brian Gray, who absolutely had a meltdown today on social media platform Twitter.com. This isn't the first time he's had a meltdown with either my brother and I. It usually plays out the same way, kind of go back and forth, call each other names, call each other scrubs, blah, 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 talk about money. And then Brian Gray ultimately deletes the tweets and subsequently blocks us. But, this happens on and off for the last, at least it feels like the last several months. I'm not going to go into it too much. If you want to see the whole exchange, there was actually a website that summarized it, lowendcards.com. I linked to it on our Sports Card Radio Facebook page. You can also go to it directly, lowendcards.com. Click on the articles link, and did a great job. Again, those tweets are deleted from Brian Gray, so you can't go to Twitter. You got to go somewhere else. And did a great job kind of summarizing kind of the discussion that we had. Brian Gray keeps saying that there are federal laws that my brother and I broke in some of the articles that we wrote about him. Specifically the one that talked about his employees have ended up with over half the good cards at the one of the National Sports Collectors Convention. His employees ended up with over half of the one-of-one gold promos that were supposed to be given away to collectors. Well, Brian Gray says we broke several federal laws in that article, or when we've talked about him. And, I've watched a lot of political coverage the last few years. The one law I'm very familiar, or the one quote federal law that I'm really familiar, is actually the First Amendment, which grants you freedom of speech and grants me the right to share my opinion in an article. And Yeah, my opinion is that the fact that his employees got over half those cards is fucking bullshit. So there you go. Sue me. See you in court, scrub. Uh, it got so weird today in our exchange that Brian Gray at one point direct messaged me the value of my parents' house on Zillow. So that's how weird the exchange got between Brian Gray and myself on Twitter. So I don't even know what to say to that. That's just really awkward. But it does give me a chance to talk about, it does give me a chance to talk about my parents, who are amazing. My mom was a elementary school teacher, and you'd want to be your child or any your nephews or your niece's elementary school. You'd want to be my mother. She retired a couple years ago. Probably worked, probably from 89 through, almost 30 years, probably teaching. Mostly elementary school. Probably the highest grade she taught maybe was like 4th or 5th grade. So a lot of younger kids, and, made an impression on a lot of kids' lives in Stockton. And, just as a super nice lady would be, be the nicest teacher you would ever have, kind of thing. And my father was an English professor, is a published author, was also an associate dean at the University of the Pacific, which is a really expensive private school in Stockton, California. One of the nicest things about Stockton is University of the Pacific. My dad is like incredibly smart. Was talking about investing in Google when it was $125 a share when it IPO'd. Isn't the type of guy to flex a Rolex or flex his new car or do any of that. My parents are super modest. Put the money in the bank and save it. That was the house. My parents would never really brag about themselves. Yes, that was the $500,000 house that Brian Gray sent me. Is my parents. The funny thing is they're building another house on some land they just bought about an hour and a half away. My dad had 80 acres and a house that his mother lived on for my entire life growing up, outside of Greenville, South Carolina. So if Brian Gray wants to smoke with my parents or wants any of that smoke, like, come get some. Both my parents have worked hard their entire life and have busted their ass. And it has a lot of ways made my life easier. A lot easier than a lot of people. Imagine some of the people that I met growing up in Stockton that didn't have a father, that their mother was on drugs, that their father was in jail, their father was a fucking deadbeat. I never had that problem. So, if anything, Brian Gray direct messaging me the value of my parents' house, one of their houses in Stockton, at least gives me an opportunity to talk about how great my parents are, and have given me my dad was the associate dean at University of the Pacific, and if you are an employee at University, it's $40,000 a year to go to school at UOP. It's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. It's cheaper to go to UCLA. It's cheaper to go to fucking Berkeley. It's more expensive to go to University of the Pacific in Stockton, California than it is at some of the schools, if you're not from California, you're familiar with. I got to go to school there for 90% off because my father worked there. So imagine how thankful I am that at 18 years old, I get to pull up and live at the dorms on campus at this super expensive school and meet super cool friends and meet super hot girls who are rich and who have fucking nice families and their shit together. So I've had every opportunity afforded to me in life that 80 to 90% of the motherfuckers who grew up in Stockton don't have. And Brian Gray, I think he has small children. He would want my mother to be their teacher. And if they went to college, he would want them to get into UOP. And he would want my father to be their teacher. So you guys can maybe think it's cool to be a CEO of a fledgling 4th tier trading card brand. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck about Brian Gray. That's why I disrespect him on a daily basis. He hasn't earned my respect. He doesn't deserve my respect. He's threatened to sue my brother. He's threatened to sue me. And he's put my parents' house. He's done enough research to where he's sending me the value of my parents' house. My mom, who's a school teacher. My father, who is a educator as well. So he should be fucking utterly embarrassed, to be perfectly honest. I don't give a fuck what people think of me, of Sports Card Radio, of my intentions. I really don't give a fuck. He should be utterly embarrassed. And let's move on to some basketball card topics. Prizm basketball came out, 2019-20 Prizm basketball. The retail, it looks like. I don't know if Hobby's hit yet, but this is a set that I've been trading the single cards for the last couple of years, and it's just exciting that the new set's finally out. And where I do most of my buying and selling is on Check Out My Cards. So, one of the things I put down here is when do I start trading? When do I start buying and selling these rookie cards on Check Out My Cards? And honestly, you gotta wait a while. So while it's exciting that this card, these cards have come up, and some of them have probably already got onto Check Out My Cards, certainly eBay. I wait a while to start buying these things because these things fluctuate in value quite a bit. And if you're buying the base rookies, you're probably trying to acquire, you're not trying to buy one or two. I mean, you're trying to end up with maybe 100 of them on Check Out My Cards. So you're trying, and you're not buying them all at once. You're kind of waiting. So for me personally, I have to wait quite a while, maybe up until after the season, right before the summer league, before I start getting involved and trading some of the rookies from this year, which is really sad. It's just the unfortunate thing because, look, you could be in a scenario where you're buying rookies, and then you just keep getting diluted because people keep, shoving more of these cards onto ComC, on eBay, and all that, so forth. You've got to think that production this year on Prizm basketball is up 20 to 30%, at least. Meaning they made 20 to 30% more boxes of Prizm this year than last year, Luka's year. And think about the year before that. Lonzo, Tatum, Markelle Fultz. There was a lot that draft class hasn't really turned out so far as people have thought. But there was a ton of hype around that draft class. So Luka's year, there's 20% more. This year, there's going to be 20% more than Luka's year. So 20% more boxes, 20% more silvers, 20% more base rookies, at least. So for me, I have to wait until the supply gets onto ComC to where it drives the price down. I'm waiting for the fucking price to drive down. I don't think any of these rookies are going to be, you're not going to miss the boat on any of these guys. You're going to have a buying opportunity on any of them, from Zion to the fucking last pick and the undrafted guys. I don't know who all the rookies are in that set. That's part of the reason why I bought 6 blasters and just to flip through the cards, get a feel for them. They're high quality cards, honestly. Talk shit about Panini all the time. I mean, Panini is the Sports Card Radio whipping boy. Brian Gray thinks he fucking gets talk shit on. We fucking crush Panini. Doesn't hurt their sales. I'll be the first to acknowledge that. I still think there's a place for a big card company like that to be held accountable to some respect, especially for members of the community. My brother and I started working in baseball card shops when we were fucking like 7th grade. 6th or 7th grade. I'm 37 years old. It was a lifetime ago. I'd feel awkward and stupid to not call out the mistakes Panini makes. Doesn't mean that it's going to hamper their sales. Doesn't mean I'm not going to buy Prizm. I think most of the shit they make I wouldn't touch fucking if it was half off dealer cost. But Prizm, I just greatly enjoy. I think they're high quality cards. It's an easy set to pick up. You understand how hard it is with this Bowman shit? Where it's like the Bowman checklist comes out. It's like, okay, does this guy have a Bowman autograph before? Does he have a Bowman draft card? Does he have a Bowman Chrome card? It's fucking confusing as shit. That Bowman shit is so fucking confusing. All these fucking websites out there that they don't do it. Nobody's organized it like the way it should be. Bowman is so fucking confusing. Prizm basketball is simple. It's the rookie class from this year. It's Luka Doncic's rookie class. You could just go to Wikipedia and look up, or, the checklist, I guess, but you could just see who the rookies are from that year and pick it up. Be like, okay, well, he's good. Oh, I've seen him. He's pretty good. Oh, he's pretty good, but he's hurt. Maybe that's a good time to buy his cards. Oh, God, he's going to play in Summer League, and his cards are 10 cents. Shit, they don't play any defense in Summer League. When he dunks on somebody, the cards are going to be 75 cents. What was that? Lonnie Walker III for the Spurs? One of my boys I think Lonnie Walker, who plays, I think he plays on the Spurs. He's from Reading, Pennsylvania, I believe, and my boy was sending me highlight tapes of this guy for like many years. And his shit was like, his rookies were bargain basement, like 10 cents on checking my cards. His silver Prizms were like $1. Those motherfuckers are like $15 now or something crazy. Prizm basketball is easy to understand. It's just the rookies from that year. That's the key rookie card to get, unless you're going to get the fucking National Treasures patch and spend $1,000 on the motherfucker. The key card is his base Prizm rookie and his silver Prizm parallel. Period. Don't fuck with any of the other Prizm parallels. Unless you're a super collector and you want them or whatever reason. Collectors, they don't give a fuck about that. It's the base and it's the silver parallel. Fuck with that. Those are the most liquidity that you're going to have. And don't, unless you're in there flipping these things fast, don't fuck with this Zion rookie year right now. Go back and trade Luka's shit. Luka is absolutely fucking on fire right now. He's pushed the value up of Trae Young. He's pushed the value up of other guys in that draft class. There's plenty of guys in that draft class that could be very solid players. You don't have to be a fucking superstar for your card values to elevate very much. You just need some hype, some potential, a couple good games here and there for the guy to be a good role player. And right now, the market for these cards, top to bottom, role players to star players, you can find ways to trade these cards and make money. It's fucking a lot of fun. That's why people do get geeked up about it. It's honestly a lot of fun. It's the way I enjoy kind of trading cards and trading basketball cards. It's a clearly defined market. It's the base rookies. It's the silver parallels. And they make enough of it to where, yes, you could accumulate 100 of these motherfuckers over the course of a few months on Check On My Cards. Once there's enough supply pushed onto that site, you can acquire quite a few of these cards. The silver parallels and the base. Makes it a lot of fun. Makes it a lot of fun to go, again, spend that 10, 15 minutes that I do every day on Check On My Cards, looking for these cards. Every day it's been Prizm basketball cards for the last, goddamn, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months. Luka's year and the year before, Lonzo's and Jason Tatum's year. I've gotten I'm doing less of Lonzo's year and gotten more heavy into Luka and Trae Young's year, and all the players through that. And just you see fluctuation. These motherfuckers can, double and triple in value seemingly overnight, especially in the off season around summer league or when articles get written or there's kind of potential for this person to take a bigger role with his team. You can see cards really elevate in value. So just super fucking excited. One of the few sets that come, and it's so easy. Again, it's so fucking easy. I love baseball. I've been to fucking hundreds of minor league games. I love scouting that prospect or whatever. Bowman Chrome, and Bowman Draft. That shit is confusing as fuck. I couldn't tell you what year Pete Alonso fucking first had his Bowman card. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? I mean, of course, people know, and if you're into it and you know this shit, but man, it's not easy for the layperson, the non prospect geek, the non card geek to really figure this out. It doesn't fucking. I could a motherfucker that doesn't know shit about basketball cards. I'm like, hey, do you know about basketball? Oh yeah. Oh, you like rookies? Oh, cool. Did you know you can collect their fucking cards and they go up in value, and you could, if there's a guy you really like, you go over this site, buy a bunch of his cards, and maybe 6 months later when he's a fucking star, you sell him for 10x what you bought him for. It's easy. It's easy to figure out. And I love the simplicity of it, and the cards actually are of good quality. I didn't get anything of value in the boxes. I only bought 6 boxes of retail, which is only $20 each. I didn't get anything of value, but I appreciated the card design. I appreciate the quality of the cards. And it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to open. I know they had like a Dutch, and then they did Prizm first off the line. I think there were 6,000 or 7,000 boxes of that available, and they did some kind of Dutch auction. Wasn't something I got involved with. It's just not my thing. I'm more, if I'm going to sit online trying to buy shit, it's going to be sports tickets and that kind of thing. I don't know if I want to spend $200-300. I don't know what these boxes end up selling for, but it actually seemed like kind of a good idea. I know Panini's having some issues with bots that are buying that a lot of, when they do a first off a line issue, and there's actually some bots that have been programmed to buy. The Panini has a pretty simple e-commerce setup, website setup, so it's pretty easy to just program some kind of bot, a script that'll right when the fucking product comes live, it'll scoop a bunch or scoop maybe potentially all of it. Like there could be a bot that literally takes all of the inventory. So could you imagine that with Prizm basketball, that they release 6,000 boxes and somebody gets it all, at whatever, $300 each. I mean, that's a lot of money to front off, but I guess if you have it, or you have that the line of credit or something, it certainly would be a good idea to buy all that and then essentially control the value of those boxes. But they were having some issues with that, and bots, e-commerce bots, ticket bots. This is just a problem that I hear about it a lot with sports tickets, so it's not something that surprises me. Should Panini do something about it? Probably. Like, you think somebody like me would be like, oh yeah, they should, I don't know, I guess, I think that's what probably the Dutch auction was probably an aim to curtail some of the bot buying is my guess, but I don't really know. Anyways, hope you're as excited about Prizm basketball as I am. A show idea I have is just putting out my phone number and getting people to text me theirs, and I would just call them. I don't know if that would work. I don't know if you're listening to this, if you would be interested in that, but I've thought about, I'd probably have to use some of my social media reach, maybe twitter.com, and just put it. I was actually thinking about, the funny thing is when I was thinking about doing this, I was like, I'll just call Brian Gray. How funny would that be to just call that motherfucker and until he answered and just recorded the conversation? I mean, I think that would be hysterical. I think I'll probably still do that and call Ripping Wax the other, call all the people that have tried to sue us, cold call them. But then also I was thinking about if there were people who just wanted a phone call and just wanted to talk about cards for 10, 15 minutes. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me either on the social media platforms. Don't do it on Facebook because we don't respond to anybody on Facebook anymore, but you can on twitter.com, Sports Card News. Do that. How else could you get a hold of me? Oh, 702-900-2149. Text me, please. And if you were the person, there was somebody, I'm assuming they knew me from baseball cards. I think they texted me about not being able to hook up their website. I was just super busy that day, and I was expecting a whole bunch of other phone calls that day. Please text me or call me back, and I'd be happy to help you with that because I've actually had to do a lot of moving around of servers and shit. Hosting plans that I have, I'm moving a bunch of my websites over to a hosting service that I have, which is really good. I'll give a fucking unsolicited shout out right here. Liquid Web. Hosting, fucking amazing. It's expensive. It's $60-$70 a month. But you can have unlimited webs, probably, as long as your websites don't get like shit ton of traffic or you got crazy like software on there, like you can have like a ton of websites on the server. So that's just amazing. Like full service too. Like I needed some things uploaded to my root level domain, like my files, based on my file manager for my domain. I just emailed those motherfuckers, hey, I need this uploaded. Can you do that? And they they do everything. It's fucking amazing. Liquid Web. So if you have a website that gets like, I don't know, over 1,000 people a day, you probably want to at some point think about moving it off. Like if you have it like on a shared hosting plan, you want to probably move it off that. Think about Liquid Web. That shit is just fucking amazing. So I've been thinking about that. 702-900-2149 if you want to be on a potential call-in show. And I'll go easy on you. We're only going to go hard on the people we're going to cold call, but I'll go easy on fans of the show, guests, or people who want to. I don't give a fuck if you want to promote something. I don't give a fuck. I'll call you. I don't care. I just think it would be interesting and maybe something we'll pick up in January. I know last year around January, February, I did some interviews and I was thinking about at least doing a couple maybe around them. Getting your audience to do some work for you. The reason why I'm thinking about this is I need a little bit of work done on my Beanie Babies website and I have a 14,000 member Facebook group. And I was like, fuck, I could get a picture of every single Beanie Baby. I could get anything I wanted. What I needed was probably a lot of pictures. And I was thinking about using my members to, I don't have any Beanie Babies. I don't want to sit here and fucking go through and get pictures, honestly. But I have I have a buy and sell group on Facebook that has 14,000 members that's super active. And, I could get people to send me shit. The reason why somebody's done this in sports cards, the only reason why I'm also bringing this up is to also maybe shake some things loose in your mind, because this is a really unique way to go about doing things. This is a really good example that happened in sports cards. When Check Out My Cards initially set up his website, he partnered with Beckett, and it cost him about $10,000 a month or more to use the database that Beckett has. Basically meaning that when you submit a card to Check Out My Cards, like, what the fuck happens, right? Do they just get on the computer and hand type every fucking card description? No, there's some sort of system and there's a database that they can kind of click through and make it a lot easier kind of on the Check Out My Cards end to input your cards and streamline that whole process and make that as efficient as possible. Well, what happened is a few years into Check Out My Cards, business, things start taking off, and Beckett is just, they're really fucking weird. I mean, we the history of their grading company. I mean, how shady that is. Beckett pulls the licensing deal they had with Check Out My Cards out from under them, sues them, all this shit. Like, I mean, it's a big fucking ordeal. It was a big ordeal for Check Out My Cards. It was a big deal because now all of a sudden they lose their database, lose everything. Meaning even all the current inventory that was on there, they were going to lose all those descriptions, card numbers, everything. Poof, gone. Poof. Think about what a fuck situation that is. If you're Tim from Check Out My Cards, the owner of Check Out My Cards, think about how fucked that is. You had a good deal with Beckett where even if you're paying, I think he was paying like $10,000 a month, which sounds like a lot, but it saved him. I mean, it was saving him, a lot of effort and a lot of work. We're talking about millions of cards. We're talking about a huge database. So it's worth it. That's a lot, that's something that's, worth it in my eyes to Check Out My Cards. Well, Beckett pulls the rug out from under him, leaves him high and dry. So what does he do? Tim from Check Out My Cards didn't hire a bunch of people. He just used his users. And he came up with a thing you might remember that was called like the Check Out My Cards Challenge. And you had to click through and put card numbers on cards and write. You kind of had to fill in some of the name on cards, and he would give you money. It worked out that he was giving you literally $2 an hour, but who gives a fuck? It's his users. It was, a legal way to go about and get cheap labor without having to go to the Philippines or have to go overseas and train that fucking shit and work on, deal with that disaster. If he had to go over and outsource a lot of that work where you can get work for like $2 or $3 an hour, he could get data entry work for $2 or $3 an hour, English speaking, over in the Philippines or something like that. But when your users will fucking sit there and do the quote Check Out My Cards challenge for probably less than what it would cost them to get workers in the Philippines, why don't you do that? So it was a really unique way to go about doing things. And as sports card get more popular, and you guys, again, we're trying to actually shrink our audience here at Sports Card Radio. But as you guys maybe out there who have businesses are trying to get bigger, when you come up with when you run into huge roadblocks in your business, think about using your users in a very creative way, the similar way that Check Out My Cards did. And if you're ever around him, ask him about it. I mean, it's fucking brilliant. I remember when he told me about this many years ago, when he told me about getting his users to do work for him, I was just like fucking blown away. That was the first time I actually even really thought about something like that, was several years ago. So now I'm confronted with the same challenges as Tim. I need about 1,800 pictures of Beanie Babies that I don't have. And yes, I could sit there myself. I could pay somebody. I could get somebody in the fucking Philippines for $3 an hour. But what if I just put one post, some creative incentivized post on my Facebook group that has 14,000 active members and potentially get half or 3/4 of the fucking work done for damn near free, or a contest or something, right? I mean, fuck. Sounds amazing. So something also to think about in your own life, hopefully, and maybe it might work for you in a sports card context or some other kind of business context. Last topic, guys. If you drive any amount of time on the freeway, you need to get yourself a Tesla. I'm being dead serious. Let me go over some of the fucking... I think the most amazing thing about it, obviously, is that it drives itself on the freeway and has the... If you get one that was made... If you get one, you need to get one that was made post April 2019, because that has the brand new chip that they're making in actually Texas and putting in these cars. The chip has the capability today to drive itself, pull itself out of its driveway, literally for you to just type in a destination and for you to drive wherever the fuck you want to go. Surface streets, rural roads, freeway, doesn't matter. The car has that capability today. That's obviously not legal anywhere in the United States. The only place it is legal to use the autopilot feature is on the freeways. And there are a lot of freeways here in California that are busy. And I cannot even explain to you, one of the best moments of my life the last couple years wasn't buying the car. It was when I pulled it onto the freeway, clicked it into autopilot. And trust and believe, it takes a second for you to be like, is this car really going to fucking stop? Is it really going to speed back up? Is it really going to fucking change lanes? Is it really going to do all this shit? Take the right exit, merge, do all this fucking shit. Yes, it really fucking does all that shit. It's fucking amazing. That was one of the best moments of my life, is when I clicked it on and it was like 30-mile-an-hour stop and go traffic in San Francisco. And I was like, I literally started bursting out laughing in the car by myself. I was just like, holy fucking shit. So get one post April 2019, because that'll be, they're working on another chip now that'll be like 2 or 3 times better than the one that's in my car and in all the cars post April 2019. But that's not going to come out for literally another 2 or 3 years. So you literally have 2 or 3 years to buy, before they come out with one. That's the next time I'm going to think about buying another one, is 2 or 3 years from now, when they upgrade the chip, and there's probably some laws that have gotten passed, hopefully, and some things like that. The other kind of amazing thing about driving it, and it's a little harder to describe than the car just drives itself, is the ability, when you are physically driving the car, is being able to 1 foot drive the car. Meaning I'm able to go, say, up the street. I'm able to drive several miles. Maybe I'm going to Walmart, or I'm going to Ross to look at some fucking shit I need to buy on Amazon. And it's, mini stoplights several miles away, and I never pressed on the brake driving the whole way. Because you have 2 things at play. One, you have regenerative braking in Teslas that you can actually turn off, but I would actually highly advise not turning it off, because it actually physically stops the car and puts charge and battery, and puts power back into your battery. Meaning, so you're going along, say you're cruising along at any speed, so say 40 miles an hour. When you take your foot off the accelerator, the car physically pulls back much stronger and with much more force than a gas-powered car in a regular car. The car physically starts to stop itself the second you pull off the accelerator. So once you start getting used to driving a Tesla, you can literally, and they have a new mode that is called hold. So what you do is you're cruising along and you're coming up to a red light, and you can time it to where you release your foot off the accelerator. The car will creep all the way up to a stop, and then boop, put itself into a hold feature. That means that you can't do it. The car is basically like you have your foot on the brake, but you never put your foot on the brake. The car isn't braking yourself. You have to time it perfectly. It's not on autopilot. The car is not braking itself. But it slows itself down, and if you time it well enough, it will. You can literally. I have gone trips where I never put my foot on the brake. People have driven their Teslas for 80,000, 100,000 miles and barely have a speck of dust on their brakes. It's tremendous driving in hilly conditions in places like San Francisco, driving out to Lake Tahoe. Because you can 1 foot drive the car. It slows itself down. It's tremendous around turns. It handles really, really well. Yeah, it's just a really, really great car. And above all else, there's this thing, since the car will be able to drive itself at some point, once that becomes legal in a jurisdiction, the car will literally be able to drive itself. So what Tesla might do at some point is essentially create a competitor to Uber. Somebody like myself who owns a Tesla Model 3 can put my Tesla into the robo-taxi Tesla system and make money off my Tesla Model 3. And they've done kind of some things where they claim that you're going to be able to make $30,000 to $40,000 a year on your robo Tesla taxi. I think I only paid $40,000 for the car. So if come 2 or 3 years from now, when I'm probably getting tired of the motherfucking thing and want a longer range one, and maybe one that's like twice as fast as the one I got, and I can literally turn the one I bought into a robo taxi, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So hopefully the fucking liberal Democrats and anybody else who has legislative powers, please God, you are not better driver than a self-driving car, period. You would rather have your teenage daughter or teenage son in a self-driving car than him or her driving himself. Period. I can speak from a very, very specific. I fell asleep on the freeway in my 20s. Probably should have killed myself. Probably should have killed other people. Totaled a car. Do you think that would have happened if the car was driving itself? Fuck no. You ever been mad on the road? You ever been angry? You ever had somebody tailgate you, somebody blow by you on the wrong side? Just really fucking aggravate you? You know what you don't experience? When the car's driving itself, you're not fucking pissed off. You're not driving. You don't give a fuck. Go ahead. Go ahead, blow past me. Road rage, dangerous driving. When it's bad weather, do you want to drive? When it's raining? When it's snowing? Do you really want to drive your car? What about when you're slightly tired? What about after you just ate Thanksgiving dinner and you just want to fucking take a nap? But you gotta drive home and the weather's a little shoddy that time of year. Wouldn't it be great if the fucking car just drove itself? It's fucking amazing. I can't even begin to describe how amazing it is. And if you've got a little money in your pocket, the thing about them is you need a place to charge them. I'm lucky. I've got a garage that I can charge mine in. There's a supercharger about 11 miles away. There are places of the country where the superchargers aren't readily available, where I could see an environment where you live in maybe an apartment complex or you don't have a designated parking space. And that's where it could get a little hairy, as you not having enough charge, you just fucking feeling like it's a pain in the ass for you to keep it charged. It really is advantageous to have a garage or somewhere where you can charge it at night when you're not driving, because that takes a lot of the stress away from, not having a charge. Because again, it's not like a gas station where there's a fucking, gas station on every corner. There's quite a few superchargers out here in California, but once you start getting outside of California, it's a little more spotty. Depends where you are. So if you have a place to charge it, specifically a garage, then, I swear to God, you got to start looking at getting one of these. Do a little research. I've watched like 3-4 hours of video about how it works and the technology and, how the two computers are set up and the autopilot. Because trust me, I was like, what the fuck? I'm going to get in this car and it's going to drive itself? Like, really? It's really going to get on a freeway and take interchanges and change lanes and do all this shit? Yes, it really fucking does that. And it does it bad. And I'm a decent driver and I'm like, whoa, this shit is the fucking shit. And when you do want to drive it, it's actually really fun to drive. I think it's 0 to 60 in like 4 or 5 seconds. It actually told me on a software update that it got 5% faster and that I had 5% more acceleration. So the car, because of software updates and the software continuously improving and the autopilot continuously improving, car actually gets better. On my display screen, actually on one of the updates, I started getting cones. It started reading cones instead of lane lines. So if you've got traffic problems or traffic, it started reading the cones a little better. I'm sure that the autopilot has run over cones and done all this shit. Don't believe these scare tag. Somebody sent me an article today about, Tesla Model 3 on autopilot blew through a fucking cop car that was in the center lane. It was because the guy was in his back seat checking on his dog. You can't just go to sleep when you're driving these motherfuckers. These things on autopilot. You can't just go to sleep. You can't jump in the back seat with your dog. And then there's some stopped cars on the freeway. And then, maybe it will get to the point where it fucks up and drives through one of them. There's data that suggests that it's 10 to 12 times better than a very, very safe human driver. Think about it. As a human, you have 2 eyeballs on a stick that you can see. That's it. So imagine when you're coming up to an intersection and you got to go left and you're looking at both ways. You have 2 eyeballs and you got to snap your neck both ways each time. And you're looking at traffic and you're looking at people on a bike and you're looking at the weather and you're looking at that cute girl that just passed by. You know what your Tesla has? Your Tesla has like 12 cameras, 2 of the fucking best computer chips ever made. Ever, literally, period, ever made. Motherfuckers from Apple, fucking the best of the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, works at Tesla now and is working on these fucking car chips. The best of the fucking best. Google's using like old worthless technology. Everybody else who's trying to do self-driving cars is doing it wrong. You could also research that. Tesla spending the money, getting the technology, getting the people, spending the time to do it right. 12 cameras on a car with sensors and all kind of fucking technology and the most high-powered computer chips ever made is a way better driver than you with 2 eyeballs and heavily distracted. Trust and believe that. So hopefully we get to a point very, 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 very fucking soon where this technology gets way more heavily adopted. These cars could literally drive themselves. You would never have to worry about your teenage daughter getting hit by a drunk driver or her getting drunk. Any of that. Road rage, drunk driving, traffic issues will literally drop massive. Think about the traffic issues. Think about how if all these cars were all automated and all kind of linked up together, there would be a way to regulate the traffic flow way better, especially in high congested areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco. If all these cars were kind of on a network and autopilot and just, oh my God, nobody would be angry on the road anymore. People would look forward to their commute more. You could be more productive. You'd be happier. And to cap it off, you know what? The home values in California would fucking skyrocket. So there you go. There you go, Brian Gray. There you go. You want to look up all the home values that are in the Teddards family in California? Just go ahead and look those up in another 10 years too. Because trust me, my parents ain't selling. Anything I own, I ain't selling. My brother ain't selling. My sister owns a bunch of land. They ain't selling. You look it up in another 10 years. You tell me what it's worth. You fucking scrubs. Anyways, you guys stick to your little gas-powered cars, your little horse and buggies. And when you see me on the freeway, I won't be driving.